Those will be the last words I'll say in Hebrew. I'd like to know myself. We've had 2 wonderful days of words, thoughts, dialectic in honor of Mרגלית Pינקלברג, accompanied, of course, by convivial eating and drinking, a kind of extended, if very tame, symposium. And now we come to the last course, as it were, which will make it seem more like a symposium, because now we will have music, although unexpectedly we had some music in the last session of papers, marvelous music, encomia, and recitation of poetry. There are naturally differences between our symposium and the ancient Greek symposium. First of all, we've separated food and drink from words and music to be heard here. But this is actually okay because since we read in the beginning of Plato's symposium, the interlocutors there decide to forego heavy drink in order to allow clear minds for discussion and listening. So we're not drinking while we're speaking and listening. A second difference between our symposium and an ancient one is that we've been mostly speaking in a barbaric tongue. There's nothing to do about that, although I think that Mרגלית would probably feel comfortable in an event entirely in ancient Greek. Thirdly, a third difference is that we've been yoshvim v'lo mesubim. We've been seated and not reclining, which would have made logistics rather difficult in our meeting hall. But the most important difference between our symposium and an ancient one is that women have been full participants with the men, and not serving girls, dancing girls, or hetaira. In fact, the whole event, something unthinkable in ancient Greek, was organized in ancient Greece, maybe ancient Greek too, was organized around the mind, the products of the mind of a wonderful scholar who has offered her intellectual fruit in many areas of literature, language, and culture. The scholar is a remarkable woman. And there are probably other differences as well, but let's focus on the pleasant similarities, which is that we are now engaged in the vivid, the celebration of ideas, poetry, song, beauty, and human achievement. So we turn, as I said, to a pleasure of a different sort, encomia, music, poetry, recitation. We'll begin. I'd like to invite Lily Cohen to offer some words. She is a friend of Mרגלית, a distinguished law professor, emerita at this university, a former rector of this university, currently president of the Israel Academy of Sciences and Humanities.
So, dear Mרגלית, dear family, colleagues, friends, I'm really honored and delighted to speak here and to say a few words about my dear friend, Mרגלית Pינקלברג. The occasion is the retirement of Mרגלית, and this does not make me happy because it seems to me that for Tel Aviv University, it would have been much better if you stayed here forever. But knowing Mרגלית, I'm sure that notwithstanding your position as emerita, you will go on dedicating your talents and wonderful energy for the Department of Classics, for the Faculty of Humanities, for the whole university, actually for the academia all over the world. Mרגלit's exceptional talents and wonderful personality are known to us all. I would say that she maintains a quiet modesty of a unique talent. The uniqueness of her talent is reflected in the fact that she is currently considered, in world terms, the foremost researcher of Homer, and was, as you all know, is the editor of the Homer Encyclopedia. When I mention her name to her colleagues abroad, they touch me, as if
I met a god, or more precisely, the goddess Athena. They probably assume that by knowing her, I might pass on to them some of her exceptional intellectual and personal virtues. Fortunately enough, Mרגלית has been a goddess or prophetess also in her own country, and her unique talents were recognized here. I would mention two of the recognitions. First, she's a member of the Israel Academy of Sciences and Humanities, and I'm happy to be her fellow member. And second, I'm proud in her being the Rothschild Prize recipient, one of the few women who have ever been awarded this prestigious prize. When Mרגלית was inducted to the Israel Academy, she delivered a brilliant lecture on Greek heritage and cultural capital. In short, her argument was as follows. The ideal of Greek education, as was established by Isocrates, was to shape a human being in all dimensions as an educated person contributing to society. Isocrates saw the ideal orator as someone who must possess not only rhetorical gifts, but also a wide knowledge of philosophy, science, and the arts, promoting the Greek ideals of freedom, self-control, and virtue. The attempts by early Christianity to remove Greek education from schools failed, and indeed Greek education formed the basis of the core concepts of liberal arts education at the university. Mרגלית relates to this as a background to her claim that shaping a person is incomplete without the basics, namely without education embedded in the humanities. And then comes the challenge. How do we cope with the argument of Bourdieu that maintaining the same cultural canon serves the current elite and operates to reproduce the current division of society power? The answer is clear. Yes, we should be open to change, to absorbing new cultural material, but that does not mean that the past should be erased. Even if the ideal leader today is the high-tech professional, we still need cultural heritage for shaping values of freedom, self-control, and virtue. This is why liberal education is so important. This is why the Department of Classics at Tel Aviv University and the classical world at large owe such a great debt to Mרגלית. Mרגלית embodies the ideal scholar that Isocrates strove to in its entirety. Intellectually brilliant, a true leader, and holding the torch of independent and free mind, self-control, and virtue. I am personally grateful for the warm friendship bestowed upon me by you, Mרגלית, and the privilege of cooperating with you. The combination of a great personality with a great sense of humor, charming dimples, and the rolling laughter is fantastic. So, I wish you, Mרגלית, and your dear family all the best wishes in the world, and I send my wishes to you with admiration and love.
Yes, dear Professor Pfinkelberg, esteemed guests, colleagues, and students, it was in the spring semester of 2004 that I attended a pro-seminar taught by Professor Pfinkelberg on Homer's Odyssey, the 11th book of Homer's Odyssey. And as is the case with all good courses, this one too ended in an exam. the unseen translation part of which consisted of an excerpt from Achilles' famous speech in Iliad 9. And therefore I did not think it would be amiss to recite it here before you. And there it follows. Meter galtem Ephesi, theathetis argyropedza, dichtha dias keras, feremen thanatoio telosde. Eimen authimenon, troon polinamphimachomai, oletomen moinostos, atar kleos aphthiton estai. Eideken oikad hikomi, philenes patrida gaian, oleto moi kleos esthron, epi deiron de moi aion essetai, udekem o katelos thanatoi yokicheie. Kai dan tois aloisin ego paramuthe saimen, oikad apoplei ein, epei uket idei et tekmor iliu aipeines, malagar hethen Euruopadzeus chera heen hyperesche, tetharse kasi de laoi. And now the English translation, done, as Jonathan said, by Rodney Merrill. It's from a complete translation of the Iliad, published in 2007 in English hexameters. It's a very interesting and thought-provoking translation. For my own mother, the goddess Thetis of silvery feet, has told me that twofold fates to my death's finality bear me. Should I remain here fighting against this city of Trojans, lost is my homeward return, but never will perish my glory. Should I return back home to the much-loved land of my fathers, lost is my excellent glory, but then long years of a lifetime I will enjoy, nor will death's finality come to me quickly. Then, moreover, to all of the others would I give counsel now to sail back home, since you will not be discovering steep-built Ilion's limit of doom. For indeed, wide thundering Zeus holds over the city his hand, and the people are greatly emboldened. And so, dear Professor Pfinkelberg, I thank you for all your many years of instruction, and on a personal note, for your encouragement and great support of my own path within this field of ours, classical studies. Thank you. Ave atque vale.
Dear Mרגלית, faculty, guests, ladies and gentlemen, when I think of the event this evening, Mרגלית retiring from the university, and the great valedictories one hears from her colleagues and friends, enjoying her achievements, but also feeling sorry for parting with her, one is reminded of an old Jewish saying, which describes the mixed feelings of parents when they accompany a daughter to her marriage. They say that it feels like a winter frost. The feet dance, and the eyes shed tears. As distinct from most present here, I did not have the privilege to be a student at this shrine of classical studies, but was occupied in a much more prosaic profession. One day, some 20 years ago, I was offered to join a group of about 12 people who met regularly with Mרגלית on Saturday mornings every 2 weeks in one of the members' houses. And we read together the Iliad. Now, the word read is somewhat misleading, as you will find immediately. We had before us the Hebrew translation of the Iliad by our great poet Shaul Chernichovsky, which was done in the early 1920s of the Hebrew of that time, that is, Biblical and Mishnaic High Hebrew. We were meeting, and members of the group would take turns in reciting aloud some of the of the text, and once in a while Margalית would cut in and start explaining. But it was not just explanation of the text, it was much more than that. It was profound, it was interesting. It was as if we were in a class of classical studies at the university. It was absorbing, it was amazing, and we wouldn't miss it for the world. And once we finished the Iliad, we got on and read also the Odyssey, also by the same translation of Shaul Chernichovsky. And when we finished it, we continued with the tragedians. We had before us the relatively new translations into Hebrew by Aharon Shabtai. And so we read part of Aeschylus, the entire Oresteia, Prometheus Bound, some of Sophocles, Oedipus Rex, Antigone, and some of Euripides, Medea, the Trojan women, and also Iphigenia in Aulis. All this came to an end when Margalית had to go abroad on a sabbatical, and we had to stop, to our great chagrin. During the years we met, I often thought of what a sacrifice Margalית made, waiving her free Saturdays and making instead a great effort in order to spread and disseminate her beloved Greek culture. And I wondered, and still do, how many other university professors do we know who would care so much for their subject as to go out of their way in order to diffuse their art among the public. It was clear to us that for Margalית, her work was not just a job to be done, but a mission to be accomplished. When I first met Margalית, I heard her speak very good Hebrew, but with a pronounced accent. At first I thought, as it turned out a little bit mistakenly, that I detected a Russian accent. But later I found out otherwise. After getting to know Margalית better, hearing her and reading some of her books and articles, it dawned on me that Margalit's accent is rather a melange of Linear A, Linear B, Luvian, Attic Ionic, and Aeolic Doric, Greek dialects, but certainly devoid of any Koine dialectos, and on top of it all, a generous dose of Russian. Margalit's effort and altruism spurred me to find a foundation which grants scholarships to excelling and needy students in Israel in the humanities, including, of course, the classics, mother of all humanities. We know that most donors assist students in such professions as medicine and sciences, and only a minority assist the humanities. It is sometimes difficult to explain to a philanthropist that sciences would not exist were it not for the humanities, and that if we support the humanities, we do a great service to the public at large. Margalit's work, personal example, and efforts are praiseworthy and will stand to her credit indefinitely. Thanks to her, many students of classics and history at the Tel Aviv University received scholarships over the last 20 years and hopefully will receive them in the future as well. When students choose a discipline for studies these days, there is a majority for high-tech subjects, which may lead to the desired exit, what the Greek would call exodus. But in classical studies, the aim is not to arrive at an exodus, but rather to enter this unique world. Exodus is the purpose, and it is Margalית who through the years took pains to encourage students and others to make an exodus into this universe and get to know the beauty and importance of the classical studies, the main key to our culture and values. Thanks to you, dear Margalít, not only your students but also lay people found themselves standing near the foot of Mount Helicon. The good book of Proverbs, chapter 31, sings the praises of the ideal woman. Referring to Margalít, which means pearl in Hebrew, it says, and I quote first in Hebrew and then in English, אשת חיל מי ימצא, ורחוק מפנינים מכרה. A woman of valor who may find, her price is much more precious than pearls. And in verse 29, רבות בנות עשו חיל, ואת עלית על כולנה. Many women have done valiantly, but you, Margalít, surpassed them all. Thank you.
בימי קדם לא היה טבע האדם כמו שהוא בימינו, אלא שונה ממנו תכלית השינוי. ראשית כל נחלקו בני האדם לשלושה מינים, ולא לשניים, זכר ונקבה, הקיימים כיום. שהרי בנוסף להם היה גם המין השלישי, המורכב משניים אלה, מין שרק שמו נותר ממנו, והוא עצמו נכחד. המין השלישי הזה היה מיזוג של הזכר והנקבה גם בצורתו החיצונית וגם בשמו, אנדרוגינוס, והיום אין הוא אלא שם גנאי. שנית, כל בני האדם בימים ההם היו בעלי צורה עגולה. הגב והצדדים שלהם היו עגולים, והיו להם 4 ידיים ומספר זהה של רגליים. ושני פרצופים, דומים בכל, ישבו על צוואר שגם הוא היה עגול. אך לשני הפרצופים שניצבו זה מול זה היה ראש משותף, ולא 4 אוזניים, ושני עברי מין היו לאדם, ועוד כיוצא באלה. ובדרך כלל הלכו בני האדם ישר, כמו היום, קדימה או אחורה כרצונם, וכשיצאו לרוץ, אזי, בדומה ללוליינים של היום, המותחים ידיים ורגליים ומסתובבים כמו גלגל, כך גם האנשים של פעם שהתקדמו במהירות רבה על כל 8 הגפיים. והסיבה להיווצרות 3 המינים היא זו. מוצאו של הזכר מן השמש, של הנקבה מן האדמה, ואילו המין שיש לו חלק בשניהם, מוצאו מן הירח, שהרי הירח גם לו חלק גם בזכר וגם בנקבה. ואת המעגליות שבצורתם החיצונית ואת אופי הליכתם ירשו מאלה שהולידו אותם. ואותם בני האדם היו אדירי כוח ורבי עוצמה, וגאוותם לא ידעה גבולות, והם הרימו יד על האלים. שהרי מה שמספר לנו הומרוס על אודות אפיאלטס ואוטוס, שניסו לעלות לשמיים ולהתקיף את האלים, על האנשים ההם הוא מדבר. זהוס ושאר האלים התכנסו אז על מנת להחליט איך לנהוג בהם, והיו עובדי עצות. כי מצד אחד הם לא ססו להורגם ולהכחיד בכך את המין האנושי, כפי שהשמידו את הענקים במכת ברק. שהרי אז כל הקורבנות וכל הכיבודים שבני האדם מעלים לאלים היו נעלמים גם הם. ומצד שני, הרי לא יכלו לתת להשתוללות הזאת להימשך. אבל בסופו של דבר, עלה בראשו של זהוס רעיון, והוא אמר, נדמה לי שיש לי דרך לעשות שבני האדם לא ייכחדו, ועם זאת להחליש אותם, כך שיפסיקו להשתולל. בכוונתי, אמר, לחתוך כל אחד מהם לשניים, וכך גם יהיו חלשים יותר, וגם יביאו לנו תועלת רבה יותר, שכן מספרם יגדל. ובכן, לאחר שהאדם נחתך לשניים, כל חצי השתוקק לחצי האחר שלו, ולא יכול היה להיפרד ממנו. הם היו חבוקים וצמודים זה לזה, ולא רצו אלא לשוב ולהיות לאחד. כך מתו מחמת רעב, חוסר פעילות, כי לא רצו לעשות שום דבר בנפרד. וכל פעם שנפטר אחד מן השניים, השני היה מחפש את החצי המתאים לו, ונצמד אליו, בין אם מדובר בחציה של האישה של פעם, ובין אם בחציו של הגבר. וכך נכחדו והלכו. וזהו סריחם עליהם, והגה רעיון חדש, והעביר את עברי המין שלהם קדימה. שהרי לפני כן גם אלה פנו כלפי חוץ, והאנשים שפכו את זרעם והתעברו לא זה אל תוך זה, אלא אל תוך האדמה, דוגמת הצרצרים. זהוס העביר אותם מאיפה קדימה, וגרם להם להתרבות בינם לבין עצמם, כשהזכר שופך את זרעו אל תוך הנקבה. וכוונתו הייתה שאם תוך כדי חיבוקים ולקטופים גבר ייפגש עם אישה, הם יולידו צאצאים, וכך ימשיכו את הגזע. ואם גבר ייפגש עם גבר, לפחות ירבו נחת מהקרבה ביניהם, יחדלו מן הגעגועים, יפנו אל המעשים ויחשבו על אורח חיים אחר. ולכן מאותו הזמן ואילך תבואה האהבה באופיים של בני האדם משני המינים, ואל האהבה הוא המשקם את טבענו הקדום, המנסה להפוך שניים לאחד, ועל ידי כך לרפא את המין האנושי.
Goethe wrote, "We should try in vain to describe a man's character, but let his acts be collected, and an idea of his character will be presented to us." Here is a little of Professor Phinkelberg's central events in the early Soviet stage of her life. Born in Minsk, 1947. When the Nazis invaded Poland, her mother, Hanna, fled from Warsaw alone at the age of 16 to the Soviet part of Poland. All the other members of Hanna's family were lost in the Holocaust. In Minsk, Mרגלית graduated from high school, and in 1964, at age 17, left her family and traveled to Moscow to study classics in the University of Moscow, which was the best Soviet university at the time. 50 candidates took the entering examinations, competing for 5 spots available in the Department of Classics. Among those 5 who were accepted were Professor Phinkelberg and her husband, Arye. They studied together in a small class of 7 students from the first year onwards. After 5 years of studies, she received her MA and was offered the opportunity to pursue a doctorate degree in the Department of Classics. After 3 additional years, she completed her dissertation, which, however, she never submitted. And why? Mרגלית and Arye opposed the communist regime. Both of them took part in underground activity the clandestine hand-copying and distribution of forbidden materials, an act which could have cost them many years in prison. When Professor Pfinkelberg finished writing a dissertation, she and Aryeh already decided they must leave the country. The Soviets laid an immense tax on those, mainly Jews, who wanted to leave the country. The height of the tax was based primarily on the degree of education. You must pay back all the expenses that the government invested in your free education, and that came to an enormous amount of money. When Professor Pfinkelberg finished her dissertation, this tax was suspended. However, it was considered a great provocation to receive your degree and then ask to leave. So Mרגלית and also Aryeh never handed in their dissertations. Instead, a year later, they requested an exit permit. This was a dangerous move. Anyone who asked to leave immediately lost his job, as well as any chance for a future career of any kind in the Soviet Union. By great fortune, the request was approved. The government gave them 2 weeks to pack everything up and leave. As Jews, their natural destination was Israel. Mרגלית was 28, Aryeh 29, when they immigrated to Israel. During that same year, their son Abraham was born. They had practically nothing. No money, no savings, no Hebrew. What they did have is a strong recognition that life is hard and one must struggle to achieve his goals. They studied Hebrew for 6 months in the provincial city of Arad, and after 6 more, they applied for a second doctorate in the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. The rest of the story is well known to those who sit here. From Ola Chadasha, a newcomer, age 28, who doesn't speak the Hebrew language, Professor Pfinkelberg became one of the prominent scholars of Israel. To mention only 3 important landmarks of her career: the Rothschild Award, membership in the Israel Academy of Sciences and Humanities, and being one of the 2 representatives of Israel in the Union Académique. This is a story of great spirit and great success. This kind of ending to the story could not have occurred without living a full life of contemplation. And indeed, Professor Pfinkelberg devoted her whole life to her studies. She is a master of the ancient Greek language and an expert in Greek dialects. Her knowledge of the ancient world is comprehensive. As you all know, she is among the world's leading scholars of Homer and was appointed editor of Homer's Encyclopedia. However, Professor Pfinkelberg also contributed to an uncommonly diverse variety of subjects, among these the epic tradition, poetics, tragedy, history, philosophy, religion, morals and values, Aegean scripts and languages, East and West, and the list goes on. To mention one example, her book, Greeks and Pre-Greeks, which deals with the formation of Hellenic identity, integrates 3 different disciplines of classics: literary interpretation, archaeology, and linguistics. The main characteristic of Professor Pfinkelberg's writing, if I may add, is their logical character. They are structured as a progressive logical proof. Every passage contains an argument which leads to the next argument, and so the work proceeds step by step to its completion with rigid logical necessity. I wish to add now a few observations as a student of Professor Pfinkelberg. From a personal point of view, Professor Pfinkelberg is always very pleasant and kind, but also very strict. and the same sincerity that she demands of others, she demands first and foremost of herself. Her judgment is acute, and her advice is always valuable. I can always rely on her broad and profound understanding of the Greek culture. She leads a modest way of life, shares a study with Aryeh, working side by side, surrounded by books. And I don't know how many of you know, but the Phinkelbergs do not have a car, nor a driver's license. They travel everywhere by bus. Professor Yechezkel Kaufman wrote in his famous article on education, the teacher must represent an ideal figure to his pupils, an example which they shall want to assimilate to and imitate. The essence of education rests on this notion. From all these perspectives, Professor Phinkelberg is an ideal figure, an inspiration to me, and I believe to all her students and colleagues. Thank you for everything.
קדושה, מלכה בין אלים, קדושה שעלי אדמות פורסת כנף זהובה. הקשבת לדברי פנתאוס? האם מגיעות לאוזנייך מילות החוצפה כלפי ברומיוס, בן סמלה, האל שבחינגות עטורות הזעירים משמש כמנהיג למבורכים? הוא שבחסותו מתקבצים לרקוד, לצהול לכל האבוב, ומשביטים את הדאגות, כשנוגה אסיס העיניו בא אל משתי האלים. ובחגי האדם, כשכד הממסך מפיל שינה על גברים עטורי כיסוס. לשונות שלוחות רסן וקלות דעת ללא חוק, תוצאתן פורענות. ואילו חיי שלווה ושפיות הדעת מתמידים ביציבות ומלכדים את הבית. כי למרות ריחוקם בגובהי השמיים, האלים צופים בענייני האדם. החוכמה אינה להתחכם או להתעלם ממגבלות בין חלוף. החיים קצרים, ובתנאים אלה זה השואף לגדולות, יאבד את מה שבהישג יד. בעיניי זו דרכם של מטורפים, או גברים ששיפוטם לקוי. ליבי יוצא לקפריסין, האי של אפרודיטה. זה מחוזם של היצרים, השובים את תבונת בני האנוש, ולפפוס, אשר 100 פיות פלגי הנהר הברברי, מביאים לה פריון בלא מטר, ואיפה חמדת פייריה, נווה המוזות, מדרון אולימפוס קדוש, סעני לשם, ברומיוס, ברומיוס, פטרון צהלתי הבקחית, שם אילות החן, שם החשק, שם מותרים פולחני הבקחות. האל, צאצא זהוס, שמח בחגיגות, ואוהב את אלת השלום המעשירה שבחסותה גדלים העלמים. לעשיר ולדל בשווה הוא מעניק כקניין את היין המשבית כל צער. והוא עיין את האיש שאינו משתדל לאור יום ובמתק הלילה, לבלות את החיים בהנאה. הנבון את לבו ושכלו ירחיק מגברים מתנשאים. את מה שהמון פשוטי העם סיגלו כתקין ומועיל, האמץ לעצמי, גם אני.
Actually, I have nothing to say. Nili and Avram, I think, said everything I wanted to say about the importance of classics and classic as a cornerstone of liberal education and all those things. But perhaps still a couple of I would add a couple of words concerning, well, this is a great event for me, of course, and but I also hope that this event will be beneficial for the department and for the classics, for the field in general, because it is a very important field, and as you mentioned, mother of all the humanities, etc., etc., and the cornerstone of used to be the cornerstone of Western civilization. Today, I would say that Western humanities and classics in general are one of the cornerstones of global civilization. For example, a couple of years ago, I was in Beijing. And at Peking University, they study classics. It is called Western classics. So they have their own classics, and well, so they do recognize these classics as basis of Western heritage. And I know that classics is studied in Africa. In many countries in Africa and all over the world. I mean, not only in the traditional Western world, but it is indeed a cultural capital that our civilization recognizes as such. And I hope very much that this continues and will continue. And now. Of course, I would like to thank you all those who participated in the conference, all the guests from abroad or from Jerusalem, and all the students who came, and for. Well, the speakers today, of course, but just know that all they said, it was a wild exaggeration. That I did not recognize myself in all those. It was, I think, too strong. But yes, I'm grateful to you all, and of course I am grateful to the sponsors, to the Faculty of Humanities and the School of History and School of Cultural Studies, and to the Academy of Sciences and Humanities, and above all, I'm grateful to the organizers of this event, to Jonathan. Where is Jonathan? Thank you. To Rachel. Where is Rachel? And of course, to Nava. Thank you. תודה.